Hi, all right, guys. This is a personal one, but it starts like this: relaxing the process of the mind, and then it goes deeper into like remembering the friend, like, remembering the friend from Portugal, and rethinking the scenario of the message exchange that didn't make sense and wasn't handled properly. All right. What did I mean by relaxing the process of the mind? Here's what happened. I kind of have a process when I'm engaging with people. Again, like I'm not judging. People can do whatever the fuck they want. In all honesty, they can. And I think by that, I also can do whatever the fuck I want. That sort of makes sense. Because if you're gonna do whatever you want, why wouldn't I do whatever I want? But what happened was this. It was in we started having a conversation about the things that are happening in our life that are beautiful. And in a way, we tend to always kind of like there's that this is beautiful, but whether I don't believe it, I don't realize it, I don't like it, whatever it is. And frankly, sometimes even the best of opportunities, we kind of like tone them down instead of like enjoy them, simply because I don't know if it's we're not used to them or just the fact that we are assholes when it comes to ourselves. And I'm saying that word specifically because the last thing you would do when somebody gives you a gift, I'm not saying that's what happened. The last thing you would do when somebody gives you a gift, what you should do is basically just not accept it, I guess, because you don't think you're worthy. And that makes sense simply because like you were given a gift, period. They saw something in you and that's why they gave you the gift. And so if you don't accept it, it doesn't reflect on how you see yourself. It genuinely reflects on the lack of kind of like trust you have in them, I guess. That's what I'm trying to say. Now, here's the thing. I didn't give anyone any gifts. This isn't about me. Well, this is about me, but this is more about how I handled a situation where something bigger was happening for the person and they were shutting it down in a horrible way that denied basically the opportunity itself, which I think is like a gift. And they didn't say no to the opportunity, more like they kind of like were bringing themselves down because they're not deserving. They are. They kept saying they're not deserving. And it triggered me. It created like an emotional thing in me, maybe because of my own like feelings of that when it came to myself and my interaction with them. And I'm focusing on the word trigger. So what happened was I naturally started asking enough questions to kind of like poke, as in like just where does this come from? Where does this come from? And it trails until they kind of froze. And what happened is like they froze. Like they kept repeating the phrase. I'm trying my best. And I'm like, listen, Habib, you have to understand. Nobody wants to listen to a broken city. And I've gotten into trouble with my expressions before because like one time I remember, and this is a funny story. I had a friend of mine who at a party was basically super excited to hook up with this guy. And she kept following around all night at the party. And she kept dancing around him and drinking and jumping around him and sitting on his lap and doing all kinds of things. And then the next day when I saw her, she was very pissed off that everyone was kind of like mentioning that she was kind of being whorish. They did hook up. What happened was she was like, "Can you believe them?" And I was like, "I actually know what happened, and I was there at that party." But I looked at her, I was like, "You kind of have to understand people because if it walks like a duck and kind of like sounds like a duck, there's a higher chance it's a duck." She gives me that look and kicks me out of the car. But anyways, so the minute I mentioned to my friend, I remember that day, it was raining. But the minute I mentioned to my friend, basically, like, I don't know, we're not friends anymore. that nobody wants to listen to a broken record, and why the hell would anyone want to kind of like just come to the same conversation over and over just because that's how you make yourself feel okay with just anything. It's just kind of like bringing yourself down to a point where it's no longer exciting to be doing anything. So whatever it is you're doing becomes normal. And I think it's a shitty way to approach things. But that I didn't express it properly. But the horrible thing was afterwards, because she basically, a week later, she sends me a message that was supposed to be not emotional, but she basically told me that she felt like anger coming from me. And I'm assuming that's when I got triggered and I got frustrated and I actually used that example. Like nobody wants to listen to like a broken record or keep a broken CD or be around like the same song over and over again, repeating itself. Anyway, I don't know. I said it in Arabic, so like I don't know how it translates to English. So what happened was, so I basically responded, listen, I apologize, and I don't think I did something wrong, but I'm apologizing for you. In all honesty, I don't know, maybe I should read it. No, I deleted her number. But I remember it was an apology, and I remember it was like kind of like three, four letters of an apology. But then she wanted to actually continue the conversation, and she wanted to continue it on through text. And I think that kind of like frustrated me even more because like that started feeling like I'm going to take back power by frustrating you even more. And granted, like at first I thought I was the one that frustrated her. But what happened was I actually like when she was kind of like doing her thing, I probably stood in the way of her completing the whole thing and letting it out. Again, I don't like the way she was letting it out because she's like when when you're releasing energy in a way that brings you back to what you were before, I don't know if it's effective, but like I completely feel it's destructive. And I made a couple of videos about people just being like there's a difference between being vulnerable and exposing your vulnerabilities. And I think she was exposing her vulnerabilities just for the sake of I have them and kind of like looking for something bad to happen for to feel normal. She explained something around that line that what I said actually like kind of shocked her, made her feel bad or something like this. And then I don't know, I just like couldn't understand it. I tried to change the mood. I tried to like laugh things off and just be a bit energetic, but I think I just sound looked more like an asshole to me. I also poked at her feminism, it's like because I didn't expect her to take it that bad or hard. So when I apologized, what happened was she wanted more or to understand more or something. That became not a hassle to me, but that kind of like created an emotional thread within the response that built momentum with me. It was completely handled wrong because I was like, listen, man, you're only here for a month. I was just like, do your thing. Why the fuck do you want to like, why do you want to like anchor this, what happened? It's perfectly fine. Like, just like, call us. Like, if you don't want to talk to me for a while, don't talk to me for a while. If you think this is hard, like, if you think this is gonna linger for with you, you want me to say something, just tell me what to say. But I clearly like, there's more important things to do. Effectively, a month later, I messaged her to ask her how she is, and she was like, "Stop messaging me." Okay, perfectly fine. I didn't even respond to that because, like, ultimately, any response I do might actually re-inject some energy. So I was like, you know what, you're absolutely correct, whatever. But what lingered with me is how I handled the situation, and not the situation when I was actually talking to her. It's how I handled the texting situation, and how basically I noticed my own emotions and not my own personal emotions because I don't think I was like responding in a personal way. I really think I was triggered by her. Is that a personal thing though? I was triggered by her kind of like just like the message she sent me and how she was kind of like laying things on me. I don't know if I felt unjustified or anything. She is definitely justified. Everyone, again, like anyone can do whatever the fuck they want. But something about that kind of like just created a thread of emotions that kind of like started coming out and out and out and out and out and out and out. They were pointless. They were baseless from my side. Like, why am I feeling this way? And they were pointless as well because they were not going anywhere. And I knew that, but like, just, I couldn't see myself in the action of actually responding. I couldn't see myself in the action of being emotional. And normally that's how when you're emotional, you kind of like stop seeing like things some kind of way. I wrote it down because I was reflecting on it that day. Here, look, relaxing the process of the mind. And the idea behind it is kind of like taking a step back instead of responding to a message directly and coming back to it after you've seen things differently or whatever, something else. And that kind of like interaction that I don't know, that didn't make sense, shouldn't have happened, just like was completely like for naught. And can we take something positive out of it? Of course, because we self-reflected and we realized how things could go wrong. But is it really worth it to kind of like get into this shit? A phone call would have worked, right? At the very least, like the tone of voice actually comes out differently and you're able to like converse. Well, maybe we have a different persona on text at the same. Yeah, we definitely do. And texting is a different part of your mind that's probably doing it, and that's a different ego altogether that you're interacting with. And while verbally, you kind of like are fun stuff to consider, man. It's a fucking video.